Hello, Gus.
Hello, Karen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
It's a beautiful day.
Very good. Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you.
It is my pleasure.
I always like to talk to different manufacturing companies to learn a little bit more about their challenges. So that's very interesting for me. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business first?
Okay. Joni Industries and Seaboard Pencil Company is all under the same roof. Joni Industries was started in 1985. It is a company that does garment decorating, whether it be silk screening or embroidery for T-shirts, corporate wear, anything that will promote a business or a name or that kind of thing. Seaboard Pencil Company is a pencil imprinting company, started in 1932. I bought it in 1980, I believe, and brought it down to Florida, and was a wonderful business. Still have quite a bit of business doing it, but there was a time in 1989 when China says, we'll take that too, and they took the whole industry.
Mm-hmm.
Except me, I'm still here.
Very good. Very good. So you are committed to stay in America.
Yes, to stay with American products.
Very good. Very
Not
good.
the easiest thing in the world.
No,
But
that's a difficult thing to do at the moment. It takes a lot of creativity and resourcefulness to make this happen. That's for sure.
Well, I lived through the business world in the 80s when greed took over and everybody was just caring about the bottom line and how much money I could make and how can I produce it cheaper. And consequently, we gave a lot of our manufacturing overseas, and very few prospered from it, and a lot got hurt from it.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
What do you like about the manufacturing industry, Gus?
Oh, I love the creativity. It's, creating something that wasn't there before and taking it from what I call first creation, where it's developed inside the mind, and actually making a product out of it is, to me, that's fantastic.
That's great. Yeah, that's actually what's fascinating for me too, because it's so tangible, right? You can see it from the development, design to the finished product.
Yeah, it's definitely a dream turning into a reality.
Yeah.
It's a fun process.
What is your biggest challenge as a business owner?
The biggest challenge for me right now has to be the global markets. I am a very strong Buy American manufacturer kind of thing. I can't even find some of the products that we sell. I tried to push Made in America. Unfortunately, well, I'll give you an example of, say, a T-shirt. I went to one of my companies that I do business with, and he had America in his title of his company. And I says, would you spend a few more cents to buy a American-made T-shirt? He said, well, a few more cents. Well, the shirt that he wanted that was coming from an import was $4. Mm-hmm. The same shirt made in this country was $8.50. Mm-hmm. That is my biggest stumbling block, is trying to say to people that, it's worth it for the jobs of American citizens, and, take it away from China kind of thing. That's a big obstacle for me.
I wonder when people get really tired of it, buying something that really doesn't last very long. Like, I just had the experience, I bought a sweater at Christmas, and now we have early March,
right.
And after washing it a couple of times, like hand washing it, you can forget it.
Right.
It just doesn't look nice anymore. And I can remember, like in earlier days, like I grew up in Austria, when you would buy something, I still have some of the clothes in my closet that were manufactured here.
Right.
But there went just so much more, I find, love and quality into it. And that's what's missing.
It's missing big time. But, unfortunately, with the Seaboard Pencil Company, we moved down to Florida from New York in 1985. And things were going pretty good and all that. In 1989, the Chinese government subsidized the Chinese manufacturer, where they came here, bought our trees, brought them over to China, made a pencil out of it, and brought it back to this country and put it on a retail level 40% less than the American manufacturer could produce it for. Overnight, an industry was gone. The pencils they were making were garbage. But because they were able to get in the door and start making them, and nobody really had there was a lot of legal battles going on with tariffs to try and get the price up. The American people kept on buying these pencils. Consequently, over the time, they developed a pencil that might be better than the American pencil because they have all the time to work out all the bugs and all that. A lot of the things you're seeing into this country comes, I say, quickly made, very little pride in the product. But we've become a society of, I got to have a lot of things and I got to have them cheap. Well, this is what happens, We have made our life very expensive for ourselves.
Yeah, it is really unfortunate.
Yep. We've come a long way, I guess, from living off the land. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I just read recently about the iPad and iPhone and how they are produced in China with the suicide nets.
Oh, really?
And really, I shy away from buying an iPhone now because I just think I don't want to have any part of that. They could easily, it's an expensive product, they could easily manufacture it here, and I wonder if we give the future of our children away by just outsourcing everything just to have more money in the pocket. Is it really worth it?
Right, exactly. And do we really need it? My business isn't much larger than it was when I used to run it out of a black and white composition book. And I would just turn the pages and I would know what I did as far as sales or checks coming in just by looking at these pages. We have thousands of dollars in computers now, and I'm not quite sure I know as much as my business as I did when I ran it out of a black and white composition book. Half the technology I don't even know how to use. I pay people to show me how to do things on it, but it's that information overload has really, I feel, has done a lot of damage to our society. And I'm part blaming it. We're all part blaming it. When my kids started driving, we had to give them a cell phone just in case of an emergency thing. Well, I guess today they probably spend $150 a month on that each one. When I was growing up, I don't think my parents' phone bill for the year was $150, but they always knew where we were, and it's how our mindset is what we need to exist, and we got to change that.
It's very different.
Mm-hmm.
You are a business owner. What do you think as a business owner you can do to create positive change, and what message would you like to send to other business owners who have the same challenges that you do?
Mm-hmm. I think there's a mindset. I think there's a change that has to take place from the CEO to the employee to the buyer to the seller. When I was growing up, I grew up in poverty and real poverty. My father struggled with 3 different jobs to keep food on the table and all that. And the area that we lived in, everybody's more or less in common with the same economic values. And we were always taught that you get yourself with a good company, go to school, get yourself with a good company, you work hard, you stay clean, keep your nose clean, do a good job. The company prospers, you prosper, retire with a nice pension. End of story. Mm-hmm. Well, my life took me a different route, and fortunately, I've been blessed that I found myself owning my own business at an early age. But a lot of my friends that took that route, and their parents told them that, they did go to jobs, and whether it be on Wall Street or manufacturing, and they worked there for 20 and 25 years, and they went in on a Monday and found out that you did a great job, but we outsourced all the jobs are here, and you're one of them. Well, that person that worked for 25 years with the attitude that I'm loyal to my company will take care of me, when they have children, their attitude is a little different. It's not that. It's go out there and make whatever you can and just watch out for yourself because it's a cruel world out there. Mm-hmm. So we got this whole breakdown in this country of employee and employee and the relationship that goes together. And it's a two-sided thing now, and now you got employees that they feel like they get on the payroll and they should have a new car and they should have their own house, and our morals and values are off track right now, and we need to get back on that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, when you look from a perspective as a manager, business owner, employee, Obviously, both have their own challenges. Do you think there is a shared reality missing, that they sometimes don't understand each other's challenges?
I think there's a big disconnect in that. We try very hard to put everybody on the same platform and let's work out all these problems together. And because you just don't know where the right answers come. The managerial world in this country at one time was, I'm boss, you do what I say, and what I say is right and what you say is wrong. Well, over the years, they've found out that the people that were coming out of the college and with the textbook knowledge, but not the skills, didn't know half as much as the person that's running on the front line, and we need to get them involved in the process. And that's something that, the division between the levels of management and supervisors, that blend needs to come together, and there has to be more of a teamwork as a culture of a company.
I have one final question. I find there's a lot of blaming also going on when it comes to the government. Obviously, you are in the States, I'm in Canada here. But this aside, because there is obviously many things the government can do to support business owners, there's no question about it. But what would it take for North America really to get back on track? What do you think is missing?
I think what's really missing is the citizens not realizing the power of a vote. I really truly believe you can blame the government all you want, but you know what? Anybody that's in government today, you cannot blame them for being there. They're there because people voted for them. Maybe not the majority of the people. There's a lot of people that they believe, I don't want to vote. My vote don't make a difference, or that kind of stuff. But the government actually works for the citizens of the country, and I feel that a big change is going to have to happen. I hate to think of the word revolution. I'm not talking a violent revolution, but there's got to be something, because a lot of the problems that have been made in the last few years, those are the people that are in government are the ones that cause it. Sigmund Freud says you can't use the same kind of mind to get you out of something that you put yourself into. I believe that change in this country, in Canada, has to take place at a grassroots level and grow up. It's not going to come from the top down. It's got to go from the bottom up.
Yeah, I think everybody has to take on responsibility
Yep.
and really start looking, what can I do to make a difference?
Well, it's easy to point fingers, but I look at myself, and I'm just as big as a problem as everybody else, because, like I said before, I came out of poverty, and my mother and my father, their biggest thing was he has to go through school, because they didn't go through school. They came over from Italy and all that kind of stuff, and survival was their name of the game. My thing was that I had to go through school, I have to get educated, and we never even talked about jobs, but we just had to get an education. Me getting successful in business, my kids have to have what I didn't have. And like every other parent in this country, we just, we lost it. It was like, where do we stop giving, and where do we say, okay, now you got to earn it, kind of thing. And we just need to get back to family values and morals, and forget somewhat about the economic crisis that we're in right now, and somehow turn this whole place into one good family working together, and forget about the rest of the world. I can get into a whole world about that world. There's a part of me that believes that there is some great supreme being that created all this, and there's a reason why he put so much water in between us.
Absolutely. I believe Warren Buffett said that you have to give your children enough so that they can do something, but not too much so that they don't do nothing.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
so
we have
something along those lines, and I believe that's very true.
Yep.
It's simply the drive, I find, that's missing. The hunger that China has, or India now.
The eye of the tiger.
Yes, to move up. I think that's the spirit we have to find again.
Well, you know what? In this country here, I believe that we're crippling our workforce. And I'll give you a quick example of that. I had a gentleman, a young guy, I don't think he was 30 years old, come into my place, and I need a job, I'm desperate and all that. I've been on unemployment for 6 weeks. I sat down with him. We had a conversation. Want to know what he did in his past and all that. Nothing that he did pertained to what I do, so he had to be trained from scratch. Didn't have a long history of jobs. But then I said, well, what kind of pay are you looking for? Well, our minimum wage here is $7.55 or something like that. But we're in the industrial park that I'm in, people probably, I would say 90% start out maybe $8, $9. If you that kind of person that you feel like they're worth putting money into. Well, when I asked him that question, he says, I need to make $14 an hour. And I says, $14 an hour? So what makes you think that there's any job in this building that you can do for $14 an hour? And he says, well, I wasn't looking at that, but I've been on unemployment for 6 weeks. I got another 80 weeks. The way I go to get a job and make $10 an hour, I'm better off staying on unemployment, cutting 2 lawns a week. For the next 80 weeks, I'll make the same thing as $10 an hour.
Wow.
It's a very, very sad way. Too much entitlement. Unemployment was never meant to be a way of life. It was supposed to be a bridge to carry you from job to job. But, like you say, that spirit of work, of really that you don't have to even go and try to get a job anymore. It's still in this country.
That's really unfortunate. Yeah, I believe we have to inspire people to bring hope in and to really make them think, that we cannot continue like this.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will be terrible for the next generation. And that's simple what it is all about.
Unfortunately, we're past the time of talking about it. We need to do something about it. And unfortunately, I don't see anything out there. I'm involved in my community, and we try very hard to work with the school systems and see about jobs and how we can tie it all together and all that. But I think we need to pick it up at a faster pace on the state level, national, country.
Okay, Gus. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
It was so nice being with you, Karen. Take care of yourself and keep in touch.
For sure. All the best.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.